Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District's board meeting on this night, August 25th. I now call this meeting to order. Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes, I'll begin with Director Gould.
Present.
Orzali.
Present.
Director Wood is absent this evening. Director Sheets.
Present.
Director Jones is also absent this evening. Director White.
Here.
Clark.
Present.
And President Saylor's turning it over to you.
Thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for that. The next thing on the agenda is a Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14 to be replayed on Sunday, August 28th at 12 noon and Monday, August 29th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Also webcast at metro14live.saccounty.net. We now have the public opportunity to discuss matters of public interest within district jurisdiction, including items on or not on the agenda. Do we have any speakers, Madam Clerk?
There are no speakers here in person. And Art, if you could give all of our virtual attendees the option to unmute.
Hello, attendees. You now have the ability to unmute yourselves if there's anything you would like to present to the board at this time. There's no response.
No public comments this evening.
So no comments. Thank you very much. The consent item number 5, reimbursement resolution for tax exempt debt needs to be removed and will be brought to a later meeting. Also, we have a director who is concerned about item number 4.
I'm just going to recuse myself.
You're going to recuse yourself. Okay. So may I have a motion and a second on the consent item?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt consent.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Director Gould.
Aye.
Orzali.
Aye.
Sheets.
Aye.
Director White is recusing himself. Director Clark.
Aye.
And Saylor's.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you much. The next item is presentation item from the Firefighters Burn Institute. Joe Pitt.
Is there my mic? I don't really need one anyway. I'm here on behalf of the Firefighters Burn Institute to give an award to Chief Harms. We have a chief challenge at our boot drive that we do in Citrus Heights. Chief Harms came in at $11,870, a record high for him. The total chief challenge that we had was $26,000 just from our chief officers. That's twice the amount that we have had in the previous year in 2021. I do believe this was due to the fact that Chief Harms taught the other chiefs how to preload the boot and get money in there before. So I thank you for your ingenuity and your attempt to raise that amount. This was the 5th year that the chief has won this trophy. He puts the effort out to get money ahead of time, and I would like to present him with our perpetual trophy and his plaque in thanks for his service. Thank you, sir. Chief, appreciate that. All right. And there's your the trophy. Has it on there. And has it on all 5 names.
You know, the one thing that I will say though, and you know, it's going out and making the ask for being able to get it, but all that you have done and all the work that you all do at the Bird Institute makes it very easy to go out to make the ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Metro Fire Board for their support of our organization and the support of us doing this in their first in area. I would like to thank the Metro Fire personnel, the firefighters that come out there and shake the boot after working 3 days on or more and still coming out and presenting themselves out there. The logistics team that makes sure that we have all the supplies that we need, facilities that comes out and make sure that our electricity is hooked up. The mechanics that come out to make sure the tower is working and the ladder truck is working. The admin staff that I have the ability to just call, and if they can't fix it, they can put me in touch with the person that can. So I'm deeply I have gratitude towards Metro Fire and all the members of Metro Fire. We couldn't do this event without you guys. This was our 28th year of doing this event at Sunrise and Greenback. Over that time, actually this year for the event, $210,549. Again, another record high that we made this year. We've been doing this since 1994, although we only have records from 2003. From 2003 to through 2022, at that boot drive, we've raised $2,762,507. That's huge. This is our biggest fundraiser that we have, and not only is it our biggest fundraiser, it's the kickoff for everybody else doing it. By us doing this, by us figuring out a way in 2020 and 2021 to do it safe, with masks, distance. It gave the encouragement to the other fire districts around the area, all the way through the Central Valley up into well up into Northern California that do boot drives. They end up matching that amount of money that we make within our single boot drive collectively in their small boot drives in little towns all over Central and Northern California. They end up raising that money. I would like to give a personal shout out to members that have been consistent, Forrest Rao and Mike Daw, who had the vision of, hey, we're going to sit in a ladder truck for 4 days and see if we can raise some money. Tyler Kraft, who's taken the baton and exceeded our expectations in what he has done with reaching out to the media and reaching out to our community about what they do. Jeremy Crawford, Trevor Jameson, Dustin Rodriguez, all a member of our advisory board as well as our executive board, and that's our governing body. And I thank them for their participation. We've been an organization that's been around this September will be the 50th anniversary of the Farrell's plane crash. We'll be having that memorial September 24th. Your invitations are en route to you. I'm proud of this organization. I'm proud of what we are able to do and what the community and the fire district to know that we're here for their firefighters and we're there for their civilians to assist the burn survivors and their families through the journey that they have. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I would just like to say this is one of the longest lasting that I know of that the Burn Center has done. And Forrest Raoul was one of my brothers when we went through the academy together. So this has a special place in my heart when we do the boot drive. Thank you very much for that presentation.
I will tell you on September 22nd at 6:30 on ABC 10, there's going to be a story, and I have only seen little bits and pieces of it. We're going to do another airing in January to celebrate the 50 years of our organization. But Alex Bell does a segment specifically on Sacramento and an in-depth segment. It started as a 15-minute segment. Now it's going to run the full half hour, starting from the Farrell's incident to Cliff Haskell, saying we can do something more, all the way up to what we're doing now. So I encourage you to come to that, and we will have an official showing after the first of the year.
Thank you very much for that information. Thank you. Yes. Yes. The next item on the agenda after that very informative presentation. Action item is a board director vacancy from Division 7. Mr. Rice, will you please come up to the podium? Thank you very much, Mr. Rice. Mr. Rice is the sole candidate that applied for the vacancy that we have in Division 7. Would you like to introduce yourselves to the board? Thank you.
Madam Chair and the board, I just want to say thank you for this time. And I'll tell you, I'm Brian Rice. First board meeting I ever went to was Arden Fire Protection District in 1982. Then Station 6 upstairs. Charles Flynn was a board member, and wait, it was Charles Jenkins and John Flynn. But it goes way back. I worked through every single consolidation of this district, and I raised my children here. My grandchildren live here, and it never was a dream or a goal to become a board member, but I'll probably be just like my grandparents. I'll work till I'm 80. That's just the way it is. And if you're going to do something, you might as well do something that you love to do. And I think I'm kind of good at it. But when this came up, I talked to my wife, and she said, this is the perfect fit for you. And I looked at it and talked to a few folks and put my name in the hat. And it looks like I got lucky, because my name was the only name in the hat. I was just looking at the faces here. Where's Joe? Did he leave already? No, not Pick, but I have a story about you too. But I was just standing next to Joe Farica and Chief Farica, and realized, Joe, do you realize it was 30 years ago last month that I was a day one captain and you were a brand new firefighter on our Engine 9 for American River Fire, and that Dan Haverty was our driver? And I can kind of go around the room. I have a letter of recommendation from Matt's dad, my captain at Citrus Heights, then Captain Bill Cole. A young man named Derek Sheets was a probationary firefighter with Captain Walt White and myself back in the day. And it goes on. And I think I might have driven a foothill ambulance with Dr. Gould as an EMT too. I'm pretty sure I did, but I can't remember exactly. So I'm honored to be here. I hope that I can hold up the expectation that the citizens in Division 7 would have of their elected or appointed board member, and then also for the organization and the men and women that make up the organization. This is just another extension of public service, and my hat's off to all of the board members to be willing to serve in that capacity, and I feel honored to be able to join. And I will say this, that I was just counting it up, and I can count this time right because it's still public service. So from Arden to Metro Fire, this would be the 10th fire chief that I can say I served under or served with. Not Chief Harms, you would be number 10. And I know I'm catching the tail end, but it's every person that's been a leader of this organization has delivered something very meaningful and very impactful on this community. I don't care who it was. You can go pick out every single one that we've had as a boss, and they have all delivered. That includes the board, because things can't get delivered unless the board is working as part of a team. I know that we don't run the fire department. I don't want to run the fire department. I just want to be a part of pushing that ball forward. and making good decisions. And at the end of the day, it really all comes down to the community that we serve. And whether you're a tailboard firefighter, you work in logistics, the shop, it doesn't matter. Your job here is to serve the community, plain and simple. And we should never, ever, ever lose sight of that. And sometimes that's tough at 2 or 3 in the morning, but we're here for the community. We're here for the community, and we're here to do a job and do a good job. And I'm just honored and humbled to be a part of that. That's me.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Would the board like to extend any welcome to him?
Sure, I will.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Brian. Welcome.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Really looking forward to the partnership and working together to really serve our community.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Sure.
Go ahead.
I look forward to working together again and know that you are an ideal fit for this role. And it's just a natural evolution of your contributions and service to the fire service. So I want to say thank you for stepping up to this role.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Congratulations, Brian. Yeah, I think you're going to be a great addition to the board. I know it's it's a short stint right now, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm the only one that put in for a long stint, so you're
Must
stuck with
be a
me
tough
for
thing.
4 years.
So with that, welcome aboard, Brian.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you guys too.
Director Gould, would you like to say anything?
Well, I think we all recognize the fact that this public servant has done quite a lot in his career. And perhaps one of the biggest challenges filling the shoes of Matt Kelly. I know I can't think of a better individual in the system around this region than what we have in front of us tonight. So my hat's off to you and best of luck as you deal with all of us.
Thanks, Grant.
I too would like to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up to the plate.
I've known 1 or 2 sailors over my time.
Yeah,
I think one's a new fire chief.
yes, he is. Yes. Thank you. I will now ask for a motion followed by a second.
I move it.
Second.
Board Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Director Gould,
Aye.
Orzali,
Aye.
Sheets,
Aye.
White,
Aye.
Clark,
Aye.
and Sailors.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Chief Arms, will you please welcome our new board member and administer the oath of office?
All right, let's do it out here in the middle of it. Raise your right hand. I, Brian Rice, do solemnly swear
I, Brian Rice, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thanks.
So, let's get a picture. Take your seats.
Right next to Director Sheets.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is reports. President has no report tonight. Fire chief's report. Chief Arms.
Thank you. Good evening, directors. I have just a few items here to start off. The first one is a congratulations for retirement to Engineer Kevin Henson. His retirement was on August 12th after 18 years of service with the district. My second item is promotions. Congratulations to the following promotions for CRRD. Deputy Fire Marshal Amy Nygren was appointed to the deputy position. Supervising Fire Inspector Angela Hampton, and the promotion of Matthew Riggers to Fire Inspector 2. So congratulations to each one of those members. On a reassignment, we had a captain's position, a day captain's position in EMS that was assigned to Captain Brett Randall. He'll be taking that on shortly as we have a transition of captains over there. For recruitments, we have a community relations coordinator that is internal that is open, and we have an EMS systems technician over in the EMS that is also open right now. As far as some meetings on August 12th, we had the CEO soak. We had talked about that before. It was for ALS. Thank you all that contributed to that in the name of Matt Kelly. The event was very well organized, very well attended. This was their first year, and I think that it was a hit, and they'll see more of that as we move forward. As I mentioned in the Finance Committee, we had a meeting with FARA. FARA was is a insurance company, and if you remember last June, they came forward. We have been with SDRMA. They came forward with a proposal to provide insurance for us. We had some concerns about switching from SDRMA, some coverage issues that were on there. There was also some language that was within their proposal that didn't fit the district. FARA's, where SDRMA has been a great company, they are a very wide company, and a lot of their claims and a lot of their liabilities have been on the law enforcement side. FARA is just related to the fire service, fire districts. Their largest account is Orange County. They very much want to work with the district, and so we worked with Brad, bringing them together, set a list of objectives that we need to be able to do to be able to bring that back well before our meeting at the next May, and be able to look at that insurance for being able to move forward then. We also had our meeting last week with the County of Sacramento on our 2x2. Director Jones and Director Woods were there. We looked a lot at the county statistics. We looked at the 4th of July, gave an update on APOD, talked about the safer positions and the deployment of them, and also about Zinfandel and the future of Zinfandel. It was a very positive meeting. They introduced a new deputy CEO that will be in charge of public safety, and we'll start working on a relationship there. We had labor management meeting yesterday. Once again, we meet every month. We went through and looked at some brownout matrix and things for the future, a 56-hour position for work comp, and just a number of other items that were brought forward. And one of the items that has been brought forward to folks is the use of therapy dogs, the benefits of therapy dogs. We also have USAR dogs that have been involved in, and what is our policy and being able to move forward as we see a great benefit of that and with the organization. The last thing, on the 18th, we were able to take the resolution that you all passed over to Matt Kelly. Myself, along with Matt Cole, Chiefs Mitchell, Joe Frico, Corolla, along with Hazmat 109, went over and spent some time with Matt and was able to give him that resolution in person. It was very well received. He had his family there along with his grandkids. That ends my report unless you have any questions.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, we move on to operations report. Assistant Chief Lozano.
Hey, good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Directors. Mike Lozano, Assistant Chief Director of Training, Health and Safety. I'm going to give you your ops report. Since the last time we reported out, we've had 4,183 total incidents for an average of 298 calls per day. We had 2,739 EMS related incidents and 159 fires. That's 11 calls per day in the fire category. Also, earlier this week, we had a change in our EMS protocols that allowed our crews to call out our MIH unit, our mobile integrated healthcare unit. Since that happened, we've had 2 calls for service already, one of which was a behavior health patient that would have ended up in the ER, would have been there for a long time. We probably would have had extended wait times for that medic there, but we were able to circumvent and actually provide the need in their house without taking them to the hospital. That's a huge benefit and an increase in public service for us. Also, when you invite the Director of Health and Safety up to give the ops report, you're going to hear a little bit about their division. So last year total, we washed 1,500 sets of turnouts. This year so far, to date, we've watched over 2,000 sets of turnouts. That says 2 things. One, our call volume isn't going away. Our fires are every bit as much as we've always run them and more, but our safety division is doing a phenomenal job keeping us compliant with keeping things cleansing and clean and sanitized, and as well as our logistics working with them. So you have to hear about that a little bit because our logistics division and our safety division are working phenomenal together to make sure that we have clean PPE out there. I could go on and spend even more time than Joe picked it talking about my division. Phenomenal members over there, but I'll leave it at that in the report.
Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, thank you for that great report. Thank you. Next up is Firefighters Local 522 report, Matt Cole.
Well, President Sailors, members of the board, chief, everybody in the room and on Zoom, I would like to welcome Director Rice to our board and thank him for his continued service to our community. Thank you, sir. Welcome. It's been a bit since I stood in front of you. Mike Kildone gave the last 522 report because I was in Ottawa at IFF convention. It was my first convention and it was great. I learned a lot. I learned a lot on the floor going through some of the resolutions. I learned a lot about the energy that our parent union is putting into things like cancer research and behavioral health. You know, Chief Lozano just talked about the amount of sets of turnouts that we've washed in the safety division from 15 to 2,000. That means that we're running more calls, we're exposed to more things on a regular basis, but that year itself seems to be giving our members cancer. So we have a lot of work to do, and the IFF is spearheading that. So it was great to be there and to network with folks, not just from the US, but also from Canada. So since getting home, we've been very busy. We had a negotiation meeting that you'll hear about in closed session, pretty productive. Still trying to work towards coming to a full term on a deal that can ensure that we stay under contract moving into 2023 and beyond. It was great to go over to Director Kelly's house with the fire chief and a number of members of our Metro family, a lot of chief officers and Hazmat 109 to be able to spend some time there. It was really good to see him on something other than a screen and spend a little time. And he was super appreciative. So thank you for putting that resolution together and allowing me to be part of delivering that. We had an e-board meeting where, again, we talked locally about the cancer stuff that we did in convention. Jeremy Crawford, as member services, heading up our cancer committee and trying to figure out what we can do locally and regionally to try to handle some of those challenges that we're faced with, as well as behavioral health. So the therapy dog is a step in the right direction with our peer support group. We're also trying to take unique steps to ensure that we have access to counselors and care providers and clinicians here locally as our members try to wrestle with different challenges that face them and their families. So it was a really good e-board. We had a unit meeting since I got back with over 60 members. We, like I've said a number of times, as we transition out of COVID and the staffing challenges that have kind of been thrust upon us the last couple of years, we're trying to learn from some of those and not overreact, not swing the pendulum too far, but exploring any and all options to ensure that our folks are at work, staffing rigs, protecting our community while also maintaining a work-life balance. So a lot of things got thrown on the floor. I took what I learned at convention and kind of tried to manage this really emotional meeting with that. I still need to get better at it, but it was good. It was productive. So there will probably be more to come that we'll be able to share with you on that moving forward. Had a Mocha Monday. Labor management was really good, really productive. Worked on a number of things with admin that I think will, again, set us up for success in 2023. I want to share with those in the room and on Zoom, we have the stair climb coming up on September 11th downtown. We always send the proceeds of that back to Local 94 to their widows and orphans. And we carry the 343 brothers' names on our backs to the roof. So we'll be doing that again this year in full force coming out of COVID. Also, I left right from our memorial here that CPF put together was amazing. For those of you that were there, it was I hope you felt the same that I did. The unique dynamic of it and having the families walk through the sea of blue was really special. And so hopefully we continue that same format. And then we will also be not just recognizing our local 522 folks and our own Bill Lobsitz here from Metro at that memorial, but he'll be going on the wall in Colorado Springs September 17th. So I just want to put that out there for anybody that may be looking for a trip to Colorado. That is a pretty special memorial as well. And then like Joe had mentioned, we have the Firefighter Burn Institute 50-year anniversary coming up September 24th. So all of you will be getting your invitations, as Joe said, but just because you don't get an invitation in the mail doesn't mean you can't come. So please, anybody that's on Zoom, put that on your calendar. And lastly, I'd just like to acknowledge all the hard work that all the men and women of Metro Fire, both represented and unrepresented, do. Our folks are kicking butt on all kinds of calls all the time. There's all kinds of after action and videos coming out. And I could not be more honored by those that have asked me to sit in this spot and represent them while they go out there and do the real work. Today, to speak to some of the risks that we take, Medic 6, which is, our brothers and sisters over at City, Medic 6 got T-boned and tipped on its side. And both members were transported for evaluation and they're going to be okay. But I think that just speaks to how much risk we see and things can change like that. So I just appreciate everybody staying vigilant, staying committed to each other, and staying as supportive. So with that concludes my report.
Thank you very much.
Matt, is there any, are there any plans to do the walk after the stair climb?
So this year, the 5K has been postponed based on the relationship with Fleet Feet and just some of the challenges of facilitating that. It really took a couple steps back during COVID. So Jeremy Crawford talked about the fact that we're just going to hold off this year, reevaluate for next year. Maybe do something where there's a climb component for the public to be part of. The walk was logistically a little bit challenging in the city of Sacramento. So I think the intent is to get back to doing something with the community, but this year it will only be sworn personnel climbing the stairs.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, thank you, Matt. Thank you. See you later. Thank you. Next up, committee and delegate reports. For the executive committee, we have no report. Next meeting's to be determined. Communication Center JPA, Chief Wagaman.
President Taylor said the board has not met since our last meeting. We are scheduled to meet here at Metro Board Chambers 9 o'clock in the morning on September 13th.
Thank you. Finance and Audit Committee, Director Rosales.
Thank you. Finance and Audit Committee met this evening and we were entertained by Mr. O'Toole and a massive amount of information. And once again, want you to know how much we appreciate the detail, the depth, and the consistency of the data that you present. It's greatly appreciated. And our next meeting is scheduled for September 22nd. And as I mentioned previously, I will not be attending that meeting.
Thank you. The Policy Committee, Director Gould.
No report.
Thank you. We now come to board member questions and comments. First up tonight will be, and the drum roll begins, Jennifer Sheets.
I just wanted to congratulate the retiree and the promotions of our personnel. Congratulate Fire Chief on his win for the boot. And Joe Pick just walked out. Great presentation. I think that it's such an awesome organization. I've been privileged to see the recipient with the hospital side and how important it is. So big thank you to that presentation. And again, congratulate Director Rice and stay safe out there.
Director Rosali.
Thank you. Two things. I had the opportunity to observe the labor negotiations process, and just a simple observation. It was fascinating to watch, and I don't normally consider those things fascinating, but this was I thought very well done. Particularly in the sense that both of the participants groups, 522 and the administration, approached this from a way that was civil, clear, and collaborative, and I truly appreciate that. So thank you for those efforts. The second item is in recognition of Matt Kelly and his contribution. The Sac Metro Public Safety Foundation has made a donation in the amount of $500 to the ALS Foundation. And thank you for the efforts that Matt has put forward.
Thank you, Director Rosali. Director Gould.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to welcome Director Rice onto the board. And now I think I found the reason why I'm so afraid of white and orange vans. Thank you.
Thank you. Director White.
I would like to welcome Director Rice to the board, congratulate those who have promoted and those retiring, and congratulate the chief and the Firefighter Burn Institute. That's a considerable amount of money raised, and having participated in that challenge for years, I know it's not as easy as it seems to do that much pre-stuffing of the boot. So it is admirable, and I appreciate it, because the Firefighter Burn Institute, I can't think of a more worthy cause. And lastly, I just want to thank all the men and women of the district, and regardless of what position or role you're in, for the work you do every day to serve the community. The recent decision with the SAFER funding to staff the full-time ambulance at 59, I can report, is very well received by the community there. And I think a very wise decision by the service delivery team and the chief to take those recommendations, and I'm happy to see that now in place. So thank you.
Thank you, Director White. Director Clark.
Yes. Congratulations again to and welcome Director Rice. Also, Chief, what a great job you've done with that. We're winning all those, you know, that, what do you call it? When you run, you have a run after another every year, pretty much winning the trophy.
It's a 5P now.
Yeah, right. That's gonna be tough to beat in the future, you know. And also, I want to thank the Burn Institute. They're doing God's work. These guys, I mean, boy, I tell you, they are constantly at it, and I'm sure the community is way better off for their efforts. And I just also want to thank the men and women of Metro Fire. You do a fantastic job. You know, the community appreciates it, and you know, just keep doing a great job. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Director Clark. Director Rice, would you like to say something today?
Just, I'm honored to be here, and I was a little bit remiss. I think I've worked with Matt Kelly for 18 years while he was a board member, and Matt came in at some interesting times and really did some really good work on behalf of Division 7 and the community. And Matt, I'll give it hell to fill your shoes. And that's all contained.
Thank you. And I would just like to close out tonight saying thank you very much to the Burn Institute for always having done the Fill the Boot for 28 years. It has been a long-standing fundraiser, and it has brought many good things for the burn unit at UC Davis. and many other things that I'm sure none of us even know about. I'd also like to congratulate the people on their promotions and on the retirees. And just to the men and women out there that continue to do their professional best and make Metro Fire the best that it is in this region. Thank you. And we shall now go into closed session. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. We're here to report out. Council Lavra, will you report out, please?
Yes, thank you, President Sailors. The board met in closed session with respect to item number 1 on the closed session agenda. With respect to the matter of Rick Griggs in the Sacramento Metropolitan Fire District, the board voted unanimously to approve settlement authority for that workers' compensation claim. Next, 1B in the case of Kevin Henson and Metro Fire, the board voted unanimously to approve a settlement agreement relating to that workers' compensation claim. Next on item 2A, Daniel Baker and Metro Fire, the board voted unanimously to approve the workers' compensation compromise and release. On 2B, Craig Henderson and the Metro Fire, the board voted unanimously to approve the workers' compensation compromise and release. And next, with respect to the conference with labor negotiator, the board met with its designated labor negotiator for the negotiations involving the employee organizations listed in the agenda. No reportable action was taken. Finally, on personnel matters for public employment, the fire chief selection process, the board met in closed session with no reportable action taken. Thank you.
Thank you. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all for being here.